Faith is often cast as a type of intellectual pursuit. It's something our minds rise up to, conform to, or simply agree with. But in the Bible, faith is often portrayed as rather mystical. In the 14th chapter of 1 Samuel, Jonathan somehow knew that God would act on his behalf if his enemies behaved in a certain way. We don't know how Jonathan had this foreknowledge. Prayer seems to be the only explanation for it. But we recognize that Jonathan had tremendous faith. Who else would take on a garrison of 20 men armed with only one armor-bearer and a hunch? Clearly, God was at work. We see God's work progress as the Philistines inadvertently turned on one another and previous enemies of Israel joined in the charge against the Philistines in 1 Samuel 14, verses 16 to 23, where it reads, "And the lookouts of Saul in Gibeah of Benjamin saw that the multitude surged back and forth. Saul said to the troops that were with him, 'Please call the roll and see who has gone from us.' So they called the roll and found that Jonathan and his armor-bearer were not present. Then Saul said to Ahijah, 'Bring near the ark of God,' for the ark of God was at that time with the Israelites. While Saul was still speaking to the priest, the tumult in the camp of the Philistines increased more and more, so Saul said to the priest, 'Withdraw your hand.' Then Saul and all the troops who were with him were assembled on command and came up to the battle, and look, each Philistine's sword was against his friend, and there was a very great confusion. The Hebrews who had been for the Philistines previously, who had gone up with them into the camp all around, even they joined the Israelites who were with Saul and Jonathan. All the men of Israel who had hidden themselves in the hill country of Ephraim heard that the Philistines had fled, so even they pursued them closely in the battle. So on that day, Yahweh delivered Israel, and the battle shifted to Beth-aven. Jonathan's simple act of faith served as the catalyst for victory. If he had analyzed his inclination and pursued faith without mystery, the Israelites likely would have failed in their campaign against the Philistines. Yet the real testimony of faith in this account belongs to the armor-bearer. After hearing Jonathan's plan, the armor-bearer said, "Do all that is in your heart, do as you wish. Behold, I am with you heart and soul." 1 Samuel 14, verse 7. While the armor-bearer was obligated to follow the king's son on pain of death, when faced with what appeared to be inevitable death, he could have played his odds by saying no. This scene tells us more about Jonathan. He was known for his faith in God, so much so that his armor-bearer took him at his word. I often wonder what makes a man heroic and others forever loyal to him. In Jonathan, we find the answer: a history of God working through your life and a dedication to follow the mystery of God's work among us, no matter what stands against us. Is your faith primarily intellectual, or is it grounded in the mystery of God? How can you bring more of God's mystical work into your life?